Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Robotech.
Come on now and set sail for the future. Fly the sky, oh, the lava.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cellcast.
The animated series.
Joining me today is a man who, well, he always feels like he has to do everything himself. Welcome, Jacob.
You're not kidding in some capacities. Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who, I think if he sees another koala, he might go mad. Welcome, Drew.
Why is he smiling? What does he know? Actually, this has become the fun thing to watch for because we did see a regular koala in the last episode.
True.
So, yeah, today we are, of course, doing Star Trek Lower Decks season 4, episode 3. I got confused. In the Cradle of Vexilon.
Yes.
Or Vexilon. I'll say it correctly in a minute. This episode was written by Ben Waller and directed by Brandon Williams. In this episode, Boimler leads his first away mission on an alien megastructure. In this episode, we have guest cast Phil Lamar as Dirk and Waddy Mail 1.
Really?
Yeah, Phil Lamar.
Yeah.
He's been on the show a bunch of times.
Yeah, I know. I love Phil Lamar. He's a really good voice actor.
Oscar Montoya as Vexilon. Charlotte Nickdow as Meredith, and Nolan North as an additional voice.
Oh.
He's apparently an extra on this show because he's on like every episode, but nothing is ever credited to him for some reason.
Okay.
Trivia for this episode. This episode explores a common trope across the series of a character who must get comfortable quickly with commanding others who is not used to being in that situation. Other examples of this include Spock in the Galileo 7 and Worf in Starship Down. The anomaly storage room aboard the Cerritos includes a Vulcan Lurpa. That's the sword Q-tip thing that they fight with in Amok Time.
I think. Okay, yeah.
That's when Spock fought Kirk.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. The Nomad probe from the Changeling, a Romulan cloaking device from the Enterprise incident, a generic Klingon Batleth that may or may not be the sword of Kahless, a Betazoid gift box, last seen in Haven, and a device that seems to function similarly to the Catan probe from the Inner Light, and of course the Wadi Chula game from Move Along Home.
And there again, I don't know. I mean, like, all I know is like this guy. He saw it. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm geeked out, and I was like, what the what?
It was a simultaneous. Oh, it's that thing. Oh no, it's that thing. I'll explain more on that anyway.
Yes.
Rutherford speed runs through all the chops of the Chula seen in Move Along Home, implying that he makes all the exact same moves as Quark does in moving through the game. After Boimler briefly dies, he experiences a vision of the Black Mountain referenced by Shax after his return from the dead in We'll Always Have Tom Paris, and the cosmic koala that has shown up in multiple episodes of Lower Decks. He actually has a line this episode.
Yeah.
And it's reversed. If you reverse it back, the cosmic koala says, "It is not your time, Bradward Boimler."
Well, obviously, he goes back to life.
The black and white zigzag floor of the Black Mountain Chalet and the backward-speaking koala is a clear homage to the Red Room in Twin Peaks. This is the 4th episode of Lower Decks not to feature an opening teaser, making Lower Decks the series with the highest number of teaserless episodes. Corizonia is Star Trek's first ring world planet.
Mm-hmm.
The power cores on Corizonia, installed during Starfleet's first contact with the planet, are similar in design to the warp core aboard the Enterprise NX-01. And in the last episode, we learned that Billups had a pet dragon growing up called, 2 episodes ago, a pet dragon growing up called Fiddlesticks. And now we discover he has a pet ferret named Lancelot. Lancelot, who normally sleeps in his snuggle tower in Billups' quarters, apparently does not much like Rutherford, and the feeling is mutual.
So if the ferret's name is Galahad,
No, the ferret's name is Lancelot.
Lancelot, that's what I meant to say, Lancelot. So is he going to betray his owner at some point?
Maybe.
Just based on the name.
I mean, he's not in the. He for the most part is not under the control of his owner.
That is
throughout
true.
most of this, but either way,
yes.
What are your thoughts on this episode?
This was interesting. You get Boimler in a situation he's not used to in a command situation, and of course he doesn't want to put anybody else in danger, so he's going to try to do everything himself.
Right.
And the Vulcan, what is her name?
T'Lyn.
It's just like trying to tell him, it's like let these guys do the job because that's what they're here to do. But Boimler is just like, no, be like, let me do it. Be like, I can do it faster. I can do this and this and these, having to learn to like trust in other people. And I enjoy that. Be like, because for once, this is more like the B story to the A story.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And correct.
Well, that's the thing is, I'm not sure what I think technically the ring world is the A story, but there's 2 different stories.
Yeah, there's 2 different stories
on the ring world, because you've got the captain trying to do tech support, which you thought she would have learned by now.
Yeah,
to let engineers do that.
Yeah, someone's a little prideful.
Yeah, and I'm assuming somewhere else on the ring world they're doing. Rutherford's having this little thing, so you've got like a story and an A-B story, for lack of a better term. And then you get the B story, which is all the stuff that Mariner and Rutherford and Tendi are dealing with up in the isolinear ship room. Yeah, which I'm guessing has got to be part of the computer core.
Yeah, I would think so. It's the atypical Mariner, where Mariner thinks they're playing with her, they're doing this.
It's not her, it's Tendi.
That's right.
It's Tendi who's convinced that it's a hazing thing.
That's right.
And Mariner plays into it because she's not going to be made a fool of.
That's true. I forgot to be like, this was more Tendi than Mariner. But
you're so used to assuming it's Mariner's fault.
Mariner's gonna do something right. But it was like, okay, it's Tendi this time. But which is like, okay, be like, I can see that. And of course, Mariner's gonna play into it.
Yeah.
And then Rutherford like just follows the lead, and it turns into an actual hazing, and it's more
because it actually was hazing.
But their lieutenant, their higher lieutenant, I don't know what you call him.
Okay, so the ranks are ensign at the very bottom. You've got lieutenant junior grade, which is what they're at.
Yeah.
Then lieutenant, then lieutenant commander, then commander, and then captain.
Yeah.
Now, granted, roles like chief medical officer,
right.
Those are roles aboard a ship, not necessarily a rank. True. But the chief medical officer is obviously in charge of all the medical stuff on the ship, that sort of thing. And technically, a commander can be the captain of a ship and still not be at the rank of captain. Fair. I know that's weird, but that's just how it works.
A little.
It's not entirely military based, but the head of the ship is the captain, no matter what.
Yeah. So it'd be like,
unless an admiral's on board.
Yes, I do find it interesting that we're getting into the normal hijinks that the show does, that the characters are they are convinced something is going on, which most of the time nothing is really going on. They're just paranoid, or there's like fear kicking in.
This is the first time these characters who are basically red shirts one of them actually gets killed for a half second.
Yeah.
So it's like, huh? You they're so they can die.
Yes.
They might still be brought back because this is not your time, Bradward Boimler.
Oh my gosh. But overall, I think this was a really good episode. It gave Boimler a good lesson to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he gets blown up, he gets killed for a second, which I was like, oh my gosh, they actually killed Boimler. And it was like, oh, they brought him back. It's like, oh, okay. You know, it's sci-fi Star Trek stuff.
Which I will say this, Star Trek, you know, Gene Roddenberry, who created this, was an atheist and he was a humanist.
Mm-hmm.
So in most Star Trek says when they are actually dealing with religion, it's usually about debunking the religion, right? Yeah. Or if there is other religions in there, it's not always about that, because Deep Space Nine did have, you know, the Bajorans had their religion with the prophets and all that, living in the Celestial Temple, aka the wormhole. But that was after Gene Roddenberry had already passed. So after he's kind of, you know, left, they have been adding more pro-religious stuff back into the show.
Yeah.
And then this whole thing with the koala and the fact that they stayed in continuity with Shaxs talking about the giant pyramid and everything. And I'm like, oh, wow. So this is slowly becoming a thing.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Honestly, I am very curious if this will the thing with the cosmic koala, or whatever I'm calling it this week. I think I've called it celestial koala and cosmic koala, but I like cosmic koala better. I am curious if this might show up in another non-comedic show, or if we'll eventually get confirmation that this is like my original assertion as to what the cosmic koala was. This is all Q just being a jerk.
That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. To everything I understand, like who the character entity of Q is,
he would do it.
Oh yeah, of course.
The problem is, I mean, he's outside of a couple of quick like jabs in lower decks, which was made solely just because they wanted to bring Q in, and then a storyline involving Voyager. He's mostly been Captain Picard's nemesis, and technically he died. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Technically, Q is dead.
Like presuming a Picard.
It isn't Picard. I won't say when.
Okay.
But you have to think fourth dimensionally to understand Q in this instance.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. I think that's actually going to be it, because I think so. There's just not as much to talk about with this one, and we're only doing one episode this time.
That's true.
So
also, I do want to bring up the fact there is the looming problem of this lone either vessel or probe or whatever is taking out, you know, different.
And it did not show up in this episode, so I am looking forward to seeing that. I haven't looked up the name of the next episode yet.
I think I saw it a moment ago.
Because I was looking at Lower Decks earlier. Oh, I had it, and then I clicked a button, and it went away.
Wrong button. Something borrowed, something green.
Okay. So I'm guessing, is Tendi getting married?
Maybe.
I mean, there was that shot in the trailer of her and Mariner on obviously Orion planet.
Okay.
Are we going to see the mistress of the winter constellations getting married?
Oh my gosh.
I still want to know what that's about. And this might be this might be the best chance we're going to get to find out what her actual role was and how much of a rebel she's being, because I have a suspicion she's rebelling.
Yeah, I would
against her Orion upbringing.
I would be very shocked if Tendi was a little more rebellious than Mariner.
It's all relative. Culturally,
true.
I mean, either way, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Join us next week for Something Borrowed, Something Green, and we will catch you then. But in the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast, on Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming, on YouTube at Cellcast, on Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts,
Not anymore.
Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.